Hello, and in this video I'm going to be interviewing a PDI who's just taken the ADI Part 3 Test of Instructional Ability, and it was good news. He passed. His name is Paul Brandford. I'm going to do a little interview with him just so he can share his story, his journey with you, and hopefully that will help you going forwards if you're in the same shoes about to take a Part 3 test. Just to let you know a little bit about his training, he did my online training course so he could study that from home, which helped him prepare, so when he got in car we could kind of hit the ground running, so we didn't have to waste so much time doing all the chit chat. So he could structure his lessons and then we'd get out in car and do it. If you're interested in the DIT kit, find the link in the description and check it out for yourself. Anyway, that's enough about my course. Let's hear from Paul and how he got on. Good. So anyway, I haven't spoke to you since you took your Part 3 test, which was yesterday. I do know the results, so would you like to share what happens? How'd you do?
Second time pass, 33%.
Well done.
Yeah, I was quite happy with that. Yeah, it was anxious at first, but I've got to say afterwards, yeah, it seemed a bit easy, really. Dare I say that?
Because you'd been ill and you got this as a cancellation, did you? Got your test moved forwards?
Yes,
And
I got a cancellation, and then I ended up in hospital with being old basically, and I came out and the test date had come up, and yeah, I took a punt, I must admit. Didn't tell anyone, as we know.
no, I didn't. Yeah, so I was like, when I got your text yesterday saying you passed, I was like, made my day. Brilliant. It's on a bit of a run at the minute. Like, it's raining Part 3 passes, so long may that continue. Yes, yeah, it's great. So yeah, so do you want to mind telling us a bit about your sort of, why you wanted to become an instructor, your journey, your training, anything you feel relevant?
Well, it's a bit of a well, I will share the whole lot. It's not a strange story, but it's quite a 2 years ago. My father passed away, and I was at hospital when he died. And I said to him, it was a bit of a one-sided conversation, as you can imagine. But I said to him I was going to follow my dreams, and this was one of them. And here I am now. So I've got him to thank for that.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's a great story, isn't it? So yeah, and well done. Who will be proud? So yeah, well done. So yeah, how was the training, the journey to get to?
The training was, I've got to say, the training was amazing. You know, it was fun.
Sorry. So yeah, sorry. Maybe I was fishing for a compliment. Maybe it needs to work
Well, I'm
on.
in a good mood, so I've got to dish it later. The training was amazing. You know, the role play stuff especially, and one of the things that I have taken from that is I remember doing lots of role play with you, and thinking people can't really do this. He's making this up. People do not do these things. And 7, 8 months into actually teaching, on many occasions I've gone, yeah, it was all true. It was all true. We covered everything, and it happens. So that
I
was
try to do the not obscure things, but just common things. The without actually hitting anything. So yeah, so that was good. So I try and be realistic. I do get out, as you know, with PDIs, observing lessons, and occasionally take out a load of myself just to keep in touch with the funny things that they say and do.
Yeah, it's all true. Honestly, believe him, it is all true. And the observations you've done with me as well, with various people, I think you might be interested to know it was Cam that done the test with me.
Right.
He's been out with me and Cam before.
Yeah.
He had 2 months off with work commitments, and because I've had a bit of a run recently with pupils passing, I ran out of pupils, so I brought him in to do it for me, and it worked perfectly well. So.
Brilliant. And yeah, what happens on your test? What was the plan, and how did it go?
The plan was I was doing a meeting because Cam's a moped rider, and his habit is he can see the hazard, developing, and then he just speeds towards it, like a moped rider. So I had that as my idea. I used the route many times with other pupils before doing the test. I actually used the same route for both tests. And I think the thing that helped me the most was that
Can
I've
you
got notes
describe
there.
the route, just because sort of, yeah.
Down Yarmouth Road, turning up, I can't remember the name of the hill, but going to Wellesley Avenue, which is the estate. It's quite a big estate.
Lane. Yeah, well, the roads don't matter, but lots of parked cars meet lots of narrow meeting. Yeah,
Lots of parked cars, and the thing that let me down a little bit was when the roundabout was Ketzel roundabout was closed. This estate was full of cars, so that was my plan, that we were going to do that, and lots of meeting, lots of situations, and of course they opened the roundabout again, which made it less busy. The thing that I found that helped me was I made notes of all the stopping places on the route, so that I think when you observed me once, I was getting the faults to work with, but by the time I'd parked up, we'd had about 5 or 6 faults to deal with, and I'd lost the plot. So had all the stopping places worked out, alternate routes for, obviously when you leave Peachman Way, you've got all the roundabouts. So if something happens there. And in fact, actually the first roundabout, he did straighten the roundabout. So we've done a loop of all the 4 roundabouts, sorted that out. We've done that on the move because there's not that many places to stop around there. Then he got to Yarmouth Road, and I pulled him over, discussed what he wanted to do. There wasn't any buses on Yarmouth Road at that time, which was annoying to say the least.
What time was it?
10 o'clock.
Yep.
10 o'clock. We got up to Wellesley Avenue. Luckily, because there wasn't any meeting situations, I stopped him a few times in the road when it was safe to do so, and said, if we met a car, what would you do? And that worked very well, and Brad kind of liked that. And then there was a gear change. There was a gear change situation coming into a corner and into a junction. He just selected first too early, and the car pulled him over. We dug really deeply into that. What was happening? What the brake light's not showing. What could the see it, say it, sort it thing. By the time we'd done that, it was over, and I was late getting back, so I was enjoying it too much.
Right. Did Brad, the examiner, have to give you a little reminder to be heading back, or did you?
The first test I had, he did tap me on the shoulder and say, "Let's head back." This time, he set me a time to be back, and like I said, I had about 10 minutes to go, and I thought I'll do one more loop and head back, and we got back about 5 minutes late, but he was happy with that. The only thing I found is because we were in a hurry to get back, the best situation I had was meeting a bus going back. Right. But because we were in a hurry, I felt that I could have handled that better. But I was in pressure to get back. So in retrospect, I'd have got back earlier and done another loop of the roundabouts, I think.
Right. Good. So was there any feedback that the examiner gave you that you thought, oh yeah, I can take that away, and yeah, anything you would have done differently?
Absolutely. Just saying that, stepping back to the first test I done, I used every bit of feedback he gave me. and implemented that into this one.
What was that feedback from the first one?
There's a couple of things. The first one, he says, basically I had a pupil who wanted to be more confident meeting situations again, which is handy. So I let her get on with it, and then pulled her over and talked about stuff. And there was times when I could have been more proactive rather than reactive, he said.
Okay.
But I get that, it was things that weren't. So I took that on board with this one with Cam, rather than pull him over and talk about the roundabouts. We just done another loop, and I asked Cam if I could discuss it while we're moving, and got it done without stopping. The other thing was, because of the lesson I was teaching, he said maybe some graphics on the dashboard, like the reminders of POM and LADA and stuff. So who doesn't love a piece of laminating? I laminated all the acronyms and stuck it on the dashboard. And when we had when we pulled over to discuss stuff, I said, which one of these does it apply to? And Cam picked them.
So you got a little laminate POM and
it's all stuck like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I hate it.
Examiner.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so he could see you've taken something on board that he's suggested.
Well, he mentioned that at the end. He said, it's very evident that and obviously, who doesn't like being listened to? So it's good. And this time, the biggest thing that he took from it was Cam's got a issue with the rear view mirror. It's never going to wear out. Put it that way. And I didn't dig deep enough into why he's not using that. I've said, he's a moped rider, so he throws himself into things like he's on a moped. And it didn't occur to me that mopeds haven't got a rear view mirror. And that was just something, just digging. I dug deep in a lot of other things, but because this was and I'm reminding him to use the mirror, I'm telling him why, but I hadn't dug deep enough into why he wasn't using it.
So because he's got a habitual fault and he keeps doing it, he's right. Yeah, dig deeper, try and find the root cause. Like I think yourself, when we first met for part 2, you were driving your red van, weren't you?
Yeah.
And the mirror thing comes up, doesn't it? Because you get muscle memory, don't you? And you stop looking.
No rear view mirror in the van, exactly. Yeah.
Good, yeah. So brilliant. So he there was any unique feedback that he gave you on this one that he thought that he could take forward into your lessons?
In all fairness, I think he was very complimentary. Actually, the only feedback was about the mirror and of course the bit at the end when we met the bus. I think he understood the reason why it didn't go as well as it could have done, because we were in a hurry. Cam was aware that we were in a hurry to get back, and I didn't give adequate feedback. What I'd done was, as we were going back, I was giving feedback before we got back to the test centre, because I didn't want to hold him up anymore.
Yeah.
Again, in retrospect, I probably would have sat him in the car for another few minutes and talked about it. So, but yeah, I mean, apart from that, he was very. The feedback he does give is very helpful, and he's such a nice guy. Makes it a pleasure doing it.
Yeah, it does make a difference if you're not on edge because of the way the examiner is. Yeah, you can just relax and be yourself and feel like what you're doing is good. Feel confident. Yeah.
He even makes jokes. I mean, what can we say?
During the test, was he quiet? Does he keep absolutely quiet?
He very quiet during the test. I mean, it was coming back. He started to have dialogue then. But he put myself at ease. He put the student at ease. Thanked Cam for helping out. But he was very sort of. He sits in the back, and I I truly believe that towards the end of the lesson, I actually forgot he was there. I was doing my you know, my particular sense of humour, which sometimes gets me in trouble. One of the bits of feedback he did give me, but it was a bit sort of we'd stopped in the housing estate, and I said, "Oh, well, we'll stay here too long in case someone steals the wheels." No, I used to live there, so I think partly I've got to, but yeah. And he just mentioned that it wasn't a thing that I got wrong for, should we say?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what you got. Where was the instructor? Did the instructor behave in a non-discriminatory manner? Maybe you might have got 2. Maybe.
I think I got 2s all the way through, and to be fair, I got a 3 for that in the first test. I know, because I was very surprised. But
brilliant. Yeah. Good. So, anything you'd like to add, or have we got everything?
All I can say is, now, if you're doing it, don't be as anxious as I was, because I was, and just treat it like a normal lesson. I can't say enough. I do think that running the route lots of times and having the stopping spaces, so when something occurs, you can just pull them over straight away, made all the difference to me. Because if not, you get lost in when you're looking for a parking space, something else.
Yeah, it's always good to have that contingency plan. So if this happens, okay, where would I go? Does that loop back to there? Just a local knowledge, isn't it? So would avoid saying to anyone planning like a specific route, which you haven't done. It's just know the area that you're going to be on, so you can adapt and change. And if you need to pull up, God, where do I go?
I think it was, once because I used the route quite a few times, and as you say, you see where people make common mistakes. For those ones, excuse me, I had a route for roundabouts. I had a route for the mini roundabout near Sainsbury's. I had a route for meeting on the Yarmouth Road, and everything else looped back on itself. So it was it wasn't a defined route. I had options.
Yeah, an area, a practice area rather than a route.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So any other last bits of advice you would give to anyone in your shoes about to take Part 3 test? Apart from what you said.
I don't think so. Just enjoy it. Honestly, it's not as scary as we tend to make out, our brains tend to make out anyway. Funnily enough, I was more nervous on this one than I was on the first one. But can I say it's a new era of examiners, so it's not as scary as it sounds.
Brilliant, good stuff. So just leaves me to say congratulations. You're now an ADI. Don't forget to apply for your green badge. Did you explain that you need to? I'll send you an email with a link in case you haven't got it. But so thank you. So let's wrap that up. So